What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Facade. I am your host, Gavin J. Gallagher, and on this podcast I explore the mental and emotional game often playing out subconsciously in your mind and the mind of everyone else in the real estate or property investment market. The key to success in this game is to master your mindset, your behavior, to take control of your thoughts, your emotions, and most importantly, your ego. So here we are, guys, on episode number 56. And last week my guest was Dan Taylor of Taylor Capital, talking about the art of the acquisition. This week it is just going to be me and my thoughts after a pretty difficult week. I had actually a guest conversation lined up to air today, but after the week I've had, I thought I better discuss these issues that are going on in my mind in a little bit more detail. And before I get into all of that, I want to actually thank the person who has kind of created these thoughts in my mind today. And that is Matt, one of our audience members. And Matt sent me a very nice message today, which really kind of gave me a boost. And I thought, geez, I got to go and do a podcast kind of thinking about all of this stuff that's been going on in my mind. And following on from Matt's message, I thought I would cover these topics today. So what has my week been such a difficult one? Well, there's actually three reasons, but I'm not going to go into one of them because it's a personal matter involving one of my family members. But what has happened in the last week has been kind of one of those things that just makes it a really difficult week. And following along, those of you who follow along this podcast will know that last year I signed up to do a full distance Ironman triathlon event here in Ireland this August. And I've been in full training for it for months now. And just for those of you who are not familiar with an Ironman distance race, it's a 3.8 kilometer swim, followed by a 180 kilometer bike ride, followed by a 42 kilometer full marathon run. And that's back to back in a single day with a cutoff at 17 hours. If you take longer than 17 hours, you're actually disqualified from the race. And so you obviously have to kind of go in before that time. So it's a massive challenge. And my aim was to break 13 hours. But honestly, I have no idea how long it's actually going to take for me to do that, because I've done a half distance and it took me 6.5 hours or thereabouts. So, go double that distance. And, it's not normal just to simply multiply the time, because obviously you're getting tireder throughout the day and stuff. So I kind of reckon if I can do it in 13 hours, it'll be a fantastic achievement. It might take longer than that. And it definitely can't take longer than 17 or I will be disqualified. Anyway, to get to the point, I signed up to this 39-week Ironman training plan from a professional coach called Phil Mosley. And I've been following the plan pretty religiously now for the past 27 weeks. And last week, for example, I ran 19 kilometers. It's actually the longest run that I've done in the last few years, since the last time I did the half Ironman, which was 2017, I think it was, October 2017. That was my longest run then. And since then, now last Sunday, I did 19 kilometers in a single run, and I didn't stop once for that 19 kilometers. And then the day before that, I had done 2.5 or 3 hours on a bike. Anyway, to cut a long story short, on Thursday, I opened up my email to find that the event had been cancelled due to COVID uncertainty and all that kind of stuff. And so what they're basically doing is saying the race is being rescheduled. So instead of it happening on the 15th of August this year, it is now going to happen on the 14th of August 2022. So I have basically 62 weeks now to prepare for next year's event. One word that just came to my mind was bummer. And those of you who follow my social media will probably have seen a couple of posts where I posted the kind of email from Ironman saying that the event's cancelled. And I just said, what a bummer. 27 weeks of training done and you get this. So it's a real kind of anticlimax. And I won't say that the training has all gone to waste, because I actually feel great. I feel pretty fit, but it's just the removal of this kind of very, very significant goal that I had for the year. And so it's left me feeling a little bit deflated these last few days, and I've been kind of thinking, what a bummer. Like I was kind of looking forward to this big event. And this year I'm 49 and I was hoping to get it done. Next year I'll be 50, turning 50 just before the race next year. So I guess it's a good enough reason to go and run the event, to try and do it before I turn 50. But At the same time, it's another year of the training, and the training is pretty hard going. I mean, today or yesterday was supposed to be a 5-hour cycle, or a 4 hours 45-minute cycle, and then you jump off the bike and you go for like a half an hour run or something like that. And it's kind of tough going, but you're aiming for this event in a couple of weeks' time, and so I think it's 12 weeks away now. It should have been, and so I was kind of aiming for that. Anyway, that was one of the things that happened to me, and nothing major really, just more of a disappointment. And I kind of shrugged it off and said, well, at least I can relax this weekend, and I can kind of go easy on the diet, and I can avoid my 5-hour bike session that was in the diary. But I'll talk about some more of the goals that I've kind of going to have to come up with now a little bit later. But before I do that, I want to tell you about the other thing that happened on Thursday. And you see, I got this other email an hour or two after that. I only check my email a couple of times a day. I'm not kind of constantly monitoring it. And this was a totally unexpected email. And it was, I'm not going to go into too much detail because it involves a personal kind of issue, but it relates to an issue that I've been working on for the last 10 years. And it's a bit of a hangover from the 2008 crash. And it's something I've been working on with lawyers and solicitors and stuff for the last 5 years. And the good news is that this matter is drawing to a close. And by the end of the summer, I was expecting to have sort of signed an agreement that the whole thing was in the past, in the rearview mirror. And the bad news is that it requires me to make a number of kind of long-term commitments that will cost me a fair chunk of money. And so it's something that I've been working on, expecting that I had until the end of the summer, primarily because COVID has caused everything to kind of back up and slow down and all that. So I was thinking, right, I have a couple of months to kind of get everything organized and get it all in place. And so when I open this email, it's my lawyer telling me that the date is now set for 12 days' time, and that I'd be signing the agreement on 12 days' time, and that's it, like bang, it's done, it's dusted. Everything is in the past, but it means that I have to make all of these commitments that I thought I had until the end of the summer to organize. And so on the one hand, I'm delighted that it's coming to an end, but on the other hand, I'm like, whoa, Jesus, these are big commitments. How am I going to deliver on these, in such a short space of time? I thought I had months, and now I have literally days. And so it actually cost me an entire night's sleep. I was literally rolling around, sort of unable to sleep for a whole night. That Thursday night was just a miserable night. And I woke up the next morning, these feelings of dread, like, God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to pull this off? Like, am I going to be able to pull it off? Am I actually going to be able to deliver? And so actually, all of these feelings of dread kind of came back that I hadn't experienced really since after the 2008 crash. And it was around about 2011-12 when things were at their absolute worst. And I think at one stage I was 16 million negative. And I can remember, 3 banks chasing me, owing 16 million, not just owing 16 million. I owed a lot more than that, but my total net worth was negative 16 million at that time. And it was a really, really difficult time, and all sorts of stuff kind of out of my control started to happen. So when I got up on Friday morning, I was absolutely sort of out of it, exhausted. But I was at the same time thinking to myself, whoa, my life has changed a lot in just the last 24 hours. Like, I had this big, event that I was working on for my health at the end of the summer, and that's gone. And now I have this huge commitment, like, moved forward basically the same number of weeks. And I don't know, can you guys relate to this kind of thing? It's, the feeling of dread and fear that, geez, I'm not sure if I can actually pull this off. It's kind of sets a certain amount of panic into you. And anyway, after a few hours of, busy Friday morning, working the phones and calling people and making sure I could kind of do certain things, it's actually I figured out a plan of action. And now that I've figured out this plan of action, I'm actually feeling an awful lot more sort of straightened out. But I was pretty exhausted, but it was nothing that a good night's sleep can't sort out. But what was the whole experience and the whole kind of ordeal has really got me thinking about resilience and adversity and the need to protect your mindset from those feelings of doubt that do kind of come into your mind. And that is one of the reasons why I sign up to events like the Ironman, because it's a bloody hard event. It's really, really tough. But it's not tough because you're up against others. It's tough because you're literally up against yourself. You've got all of this distance to cover, and it kind of almost seems impossible that, coming off a bike ride of 7 or 8 hours, that you're going to put your feet on the ground and you're now going to start running a marathon. And like, I'm always looking to toughen up my mind, to try to get as strong a mindset as possible, and to become the best version of myself, a bad mofo, as we say, And so thanks again to Matt for his message today, because he has suggested that I take out the book David Goggins wrote called Can't Hurt Me. And I actually already have both the book and the the Audible version. And so I listen to it in my car sometimes, and it's an absolutely brilliant book. And it's one that I enjoyed so much that I'm actually going to take it out and read it again. But before I finish up today's episode, I wanted to tell you that resilience and adversity is absolutely part and parcel of life. I mean, most of you guys will, I'm sure, have experienced it in your life, but it's definitely part of business, and it's in particular part of the real estate business. And so if you guys are coming into this, if you're new to this whole sector and you're kind of thinking, you see people talking about the glamour and, the success and being financially free and all this kind of stuff, it is not a straight line journey. It is lots of ups, lots of downs, lots of ups, lots of downs. And you've just got to go into it with your eyes wide open. Do not think that this is going to be a walk in the park. You might get successful, but you could equally have a horrendous deal, and it just happens to be the next deal that you do happens to be one of those ones. I've had deals fall over. I've had tenants pull out just on the day that you were expecting them to kind of sign, and that would put get the banking sorted. I've had planning permission that gets turned down and denied. I've had banks that suddenly renege on agreements that they've made and then go after you. And you really need to be tough as nails mentally to cope with all of the stuff that can come at you in this business. And but equally, and this is an important one as well, you need to be equally tough mentally for the success that comes with this business, because it's that discipline that you need when you are winning. Because what happens in this business, because it is so cyclical and because it is so up and down and it goes through these kind of troughs and waves and stuff, if you don't have the mindset that is kind of aware of this need to go up and down and need to be prepared for the tough moments as much as the successful moments, then you're going to go and lose all your discipline. As soon as you have a successful deal, you'll go and blow all the money on something silly, and then when something bad comes along, you're not going to have the resources to deal with it. And it's something that I did myself. I made a lot of mistakes. I kind of went mad because I got a couple of deals in a row doing really, really well. And then all of a sudden the 2008 crash came along, and it didn't matter how many deals I did. I ended up massively, massively underwater. And when you're winning, it's so easy to lose focus and to kind of fall off the path and find yourself basically sabotaging all of the years of hard work. And one of the best ways to work on getting this kind of mindset is to surround yourself with people of a similar kind of disciplined mindset. And, people that are kind of leadership material, people that are success-orientated go-getters. And I'm in a couple of sort of groups, whether it's a WhatsApp group or whether it's a Facebook group, or I'm in different groups with people like this. And I find that to be super valuable. And you get such a lift from hearing their stories, how they're dealing with stuff and how they're overcoming obstacles. So it's basically an accountability group. And I find these accountability buddies can be really, really useful. And it doesn't matter, what area you're in, you'll always find somebody who's kind of like an accountability buddy for that area. So in my case, I have friends that are super fit, and I kind of post my workouts with them. And any time that I'm feeling kind of lazy or like I don't, take care of what I'm eating or something like that, I just have to open up the WhatsApp group and I see what they're posting and I go, shit, man, I've got to go and get back on track. These guys are kind of making me feel bad. And that's what you get from accountability. And then equally, whenever I post, a really hard workout, they see it and they kind of go, whoa, you know, look what Gavin's done. The day that I did my 1,000 burpees, I think last August, or 1,048 burpees in under 2 hours, and I posted the whole thing live on YouTube, or not on YouTube, on Facebook. And a load of people were watching it, and they were kind of like standing going, holy God, look at this is impossible. And then they go off and they start making really significant stretch goals and kind of want to go and do it. So being in these groups and being part of these groups is super valuable in developing that mindset. And if you're in like a business group as well, it can also do that. And so I guess now is as good a time as any to mention that I'm in the process of creating a mastermind group, and it's going to be kind of like an inner circle, and it's going to be for a small number of people who want to, you know, be in that kind of group with me. I'm going to be leading the group. I'm going to be doing, I guess, weekly mentoring. I'll be helping people scale their business or their portfolio, be doing reviews of projects, whether it's development or investment, helping people grow their wealth, you know, putting in place all of the different pieces that you need to kind of develop. And, you know, I might be a couple of steps ahead of some of you, and therefore it's kind of aimed at people that want to learn from my experiences. And the idea is it's not just focused on business now. The you know, as you know from listening to this podcast, there's a lot more to my life than just business. I'm looking at health and discipline and all of that kind of stuff. So it's going to be aimed around kind of other goals as well. So it's certainly in my case, whether it's a professional or personal goal, it should be a good group to be a part of. Now, the ideas that I've got in mind for this are still formulating in my head. I'm thinking it's probably going to be either a 6-month or a 9-month program. The reason for that is because I think there's going to be people that are doing deals kind of with me, and we'll be reviewing the deals together on a kind of a weekly call or whatever. And if we're doing that, you know, a couple of months is just not enough to get a significant project across the line. You need something like 6 or 9 months at least to kind of help with that kind of project or whatever it is that you're working on. So regular Zoom calls, you know, group Zoom calls to review the projects or the deals. By doing that as a group, you have the accountability of your other members, and they can kind of see that what you're doing, and they might be thinking, holy God, this guy's like much further ahead than me. Or you might be thinking the opposite. You might be saying, whoa, that guy's, you know, 5 steps ahead of me, or he's done his first deal, or he's done his 6th deal, or whatever it is. I'm not, you know, I'm still working out some of these details, but I just thought I'd put it out there and see if you're interested in being part of this. Please reach out to me and let me know. You know, send me a direct message. Just say, look, that sounds like it's for me, and I'll definitely make sure that you get more details when it's properly finalized. But I am thinking about this'll probably start around about July or something like that, because the sooner we do it, the better. I think I got to get a couple of weeks just to kind of finalize some bits and pieces, but that's the plan. And just so as you're aware, I'm only going to allow sort of 10 to 15 people in max, because I want to be able to get to know everybody in the group, and I want to be able to help everybody in a meaningful way. And I just don't think that's possible if we have a large group, you know, with sort of 30 or 40 people, because there's only so much you can cover on a Zoom call, and I can't be talking to 30 or 40 people and going over their deals. So it's going to be small number of people, and we're going to go, it's going to be a quality over quantity kind of thing. And anyway, let me know what you think. If you're interested in something like that, send me a DM. I'm going to be putting it out to the email list anyway. So if you're not on my email list, please add your name. You can do that by going to my website, www.gavinjgallagher.com/go. And that will bring you right to the place where you can kind of sign up to the newsletter. Well, I don't really have a newsletter. I just have an email list, and I'm going to be updating you on this mastermind in there. So that's pretty much it, guys. It's a short one today, but I just wanted to kind of bring some fire and try to kind of give myself a bit of a lift after the last few days. I was feeling kind of sorry for myself, but I'm actually now fully back on fire, and I'm actually thinking to myself, I'm going to go and set myself a really tough physical stretch goal in the next couple of days, and so next week when I when episode 57 comes out, I'll be letting you know what that challenge is, and you can kind of watch me on it. But it's probably going to be something that involves, I think it might be something involving burpees or some sort of calisthenics, because I've done so much working out on bikes and running and stuff like that in the last few months. I want to give that a break for just a couple of weeks, and I want to focus on something different, a different set of muscle groups. So we'll see what happens. But guys, thanks so much for listening. As always, that is all for episode number 56 of Behind the Facade. Thanks always. As always, my number one ask is for you guys to maybe leave a review or just share the episode out with anyone you think would benefit from it. If you know anyone who might be interested in joining up to such a mastermind group, or if you would like somebody else to join with you at the same time, then maybe share it out to whoever you think would be interested. In the show notes, you're going to find links to my various groups. You can sign up to the Facebook group Behind the Facade Community, and you can find my email list, sign up and various things there. As always, guys, I'm plugging my YouTube channel, Gavin J. Gallagher, and I'm going to be putting out, we're involved in a project now. The business I'm in is we're actually building houses and apartments in an area called Shankhill in Dublin. And I'm going to be doing a kind of, every 2 weeks, I'm going to do kind of a project update. I'm going to bring you out to the site. I'm going to show you around. At the moment, we've just cleared the site. We've taken down a couple of trees and we've just basically flattened it out. So it's right at the very beginning, and I can kind of take you through a lot of the details and just sort of give you an update as we go through on the entire project. So you'll see from start to finish in the YouTube channel how that project is going. And also I'm doing all of the interviews I've had with my guests for the last number of months. I'm going to be putting the full interview from start to finish up on my channel. It means that, you know yourself, guys, these interviews are now about an hour long. So if you're interested in just the back and forth and watching it on YouTube, you'll be able to find it in there. I'm going to be putting those up this next coming week or so. And so that's it, guys. I hope you have a good week. And if you are struggling with any of this kind of stuff, if you found this episode helpful, then, please reach out, let me know. Happy to help. I do like to kind of hear from you guys as to what you're sort of thinking about or up to date, doing at the moment, and any ideas you have, any suggestions you have to improve the podcast. I'm all ears. So guys, until next week, speak to you soon.